Welcome folks, Flipknot here. Well, I got some time to kill while I'm on my Burt's Black Widow Street Glide Ultra. I'm taking up to Sturgis, taking it up to Burt's Barracuda to go take care of this windshield. Different video. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about something that's kind of personal. It's not like super personal, but it's personal. So everybody's got somebody that you idolize, and like when they pass away, you feel a void in your life, and you kind of, it's hard to describe, where it's like somebody you've never met, but they've touched your life so much. They've given you somewhat of a direction or some kind of hope, or just something to make that moment a little easier. The best example I can think of off the top of my head is David Bowie. He's one that a lot of people just hurt. It hurt a lot of people. When he passed away, a lot of people could not take it. It was very devastating. I was shocked. But you know, like, you look into the situation and it's like, he knew he had cancer, he knew what he was doing, he knew he was dying. He made the last couple records with certain people, and he gave the last of his legacy before he passed away, and he knew he was going, and that was for him to know. And we only found out after it happened. And as much as I love David Bowie, and as much as he's influenced a lot of people's lives and music and personalities, and like, you know, like androgyny and like being comfortable with who you want to be, not even who you are, but who you want to be, like, he gave a lot of people hope in that kind of a scenario. And the reason I bring all this up is because the other day, me and the CPA, we went to go see this movie documentary called Roadrunner, which is a documentary on Anthony Bourdain. And Anthony Bourdain was a huge, dramatic influence in me personally. There's so many different aspects of my life. When I was working in restaurants and I was a cook, and then like later became a bartender, his travels, him loving other people's food and cultures and culinary worlds, and the indigenous ideas of what food is, was inspiring for somebody who was not an American, living in America, and you want to infuse a bit of who you are into an American culture, parts of where you were born and grew up. You want to share with other people who haven't been able to try it, between foods and flavors, fruits and things like that. I love showing people cashew fruit, because all anybody thinks is that cashew is a nut, which the nut is actually the seed of the cashew fruit. The fruit of the cashew is actually incredibly delicious, and it's not something that you can easily find, but when you can, it's something I'd love to share with people. And now later in my life, where I'm doing things like YouTube and traveling and seeing new places, the idea of being able to tell a story from your point of view, even if it's your own cynical point of view. And that's one of the best things about Anthony Bourdain that I absolutely loved about him, was even in places like, you know, Paris, France, where, like, you know, it's the most beautiful place in the world, blah, 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 blah. He was still Anthony Bourdain. He was still cynical. He was still an ex-junkie and an alcoholic and all these other things. So it's never stopped him from being himself, but he still was able to appreciate the world that he was in, and it's something that I've been trying to do more in my life. And that's one of the big reasons why I want to travel more on motorcycles recently, why I'm taking this trip to Sturgis. Like, I am scared out of my mind for this trip. 6,000 miles on a motorcycle by myself, a motorcycle that I don't know, that's not mine, and I in no way think anything's gonna happen on this motorcycle. I don't think it's gonna break down. I know it's been taken care of, and, you know, techs have looked it over, yada yada yada. It's just the factor of the unknown. I worry about crashing somebody else's motorcycle or getting hit on a motorcycle far from home. But as somebody who's getting close to his 40s, witnessing somebody who in his mid-40s had, for the third or fourth time in his entire life, pivoted careers, changed the world around him. He changed what travel entertainment was. He changed what mindsets of different countries were and the food around them. He made a point of sitting down with locals when he went to different cities, and like sit down with families and eat their home cooked meals, their lunches that they eat every day, and talk about the world that they live in, because not everybody's life is sunshine and roses, and we all know this to be true. And being able to pivot so many times to so many different things of one person's career, being able to overcome the fact that he was a complete strung out person, junkie, ex-heroin addict. If anybody's ever met anybody who's an ex-heroin addict, it's not something that ever goes away. It's something that's constantly in their mind. As somebody who quit smoking 2 years ago, I still think about having a cigarette every 10 minutes of my day. I know it's a horrible comparison, you know, but tobacco is still considered to be one of the most addictive substances in the world. It's just not as dangerous as opium. But still, seeing somebody who went from being a heroin addict to a head chef at a successful restaurant to then being able to be one of the biggest names in the culinary universe as a journalist, basically. It makes me think that maybe this little thing might be going somewhere. It gives me hope in that scenario. I am sure I've seen pretty much 98% of every TV show he's ever been on, much less put out himself. From like 2014 when he ate a live cobra's beating heart to his last season on CNN and Parts Unknown, sitting down and talking to the President of the United States. And where was he? I think he was in India? Maybe it was Cambodia? I don't remember. But I remember they were eating fun, drinking beer. Again, a guy who was strung out on heroin, who couldn't hold down a job, was a short order cook, making eggs and pancakes every morning, is now interviewing the President of the United States. Well, not only just the President, one of the most influential presidents in the United States. But at the end of the day, the one thing that I got out of him being who he is and all the struggles he's gone through, one of the biggest struggles he went through was his depression. We all struggle through being sad one way or another. Regardless of it all, we all know how the story ended. And my opinions on that is my opinions, and it's between me and my demons on that one. But inevitably, at the end of the day, it was his decision. And that's all it was. And it's sad because I'm selfish about it, because I wanted to keep seeing more food programming. I wanted to see him travel more. I wanted to get more of his books. They're amazing. As somebody who worked in that industry, they are absolutely purely 100% factual and some of the way things happen in that industry. But it was a great movie. Unfortunately, for somebody who has been so enamored with him since 2004, I knew and saw a lot of that footage already. The only real difference was in it was just watching his friends talk about him, like Eric Rupert and Josh Homme and David Chang. Like, they were great. They were all such great friends, and seeing how it affected them, which clearly it affected them. There's no question about it. That was the hard part in that movie. But if you get a chance to, go check it out. For people who are stuck in a dead-end world, his story is just a ray of hope. That's what I got to say about that at this point, I guess. It was a great movie. It was rough. It was hard. But, you know, he was here. He gave us all these great experiences that most of us would never have if it wasn't for somebody like him. Going into some of these cities, into the dirty parts of these cities where most TV personalities would never go. And seeing how a world is outside of our own. A real world. Not a Mexican resort for Americans type of not America. Well, we'll leave it at that. Here we are at Burt's Harley-Davidson. I got things I got to get done. Ooh, what's happening here? And I guess this is where I'm going to sign out, guys. You know how this works. Don't forget to like this video. Do not forget to subscribe. And as always, catch you on the flip side.